How's it going? Love to talk. If anyone wants to call in, just hanging out. In 432 hertz. Just trying to put out some positive vibes. A lot of craziness in the world. Voynich, you know what I'm talking about, right? You got that boy neck. No sound? Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Anyone? Test 1, 2. Can anyone hear me? Oh, I'm there? Doc Michael! Dude, what's happening? You've been chilling out? Some kind of tropical environment for like 2 weeks? That's wild, dude. That's awesome. Call in if you want, dude. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. All right. Just getting things rolling. Oh, I got you, Voynich. Rick Swain, what's happening? You guys are my homies. I'm just chillin' with my homies, live on YouTube and D-Live, putting positive vibes into the universe, seeing goodbye. I got a good song. Yo, Sour Diesel. I was reading that stuff you were writing. That was pretty interesting. About all the gematria. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Think I can take it now. Pain is gone. All the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Gonna be bright, 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 sunshiny day. Look up ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, pain is gone. All bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Bright, bright, sunshiny day. Bright, sunshiny day. Gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. CGB, CGB. I was with you yesterday, playing acoustic, and it was so funny. You were on D-Live, and your kid was playing around in your jam room. That's the way it was over here until I put up this gate. I have some videos way back when where I was jamming, and my little kid, he was probably like, I'd say 3. You know, he would completely shut down my jam sessions. I'd be playing and then he'd like hit a button and turn me all off or unplug me or something like that. It was so funny. Kids love jam rooms, though. My kids definitely love to jam. You know what I'm saying? Like all the things, the drums and the piano, and it's like I love setting them up and letting them go to town on my stuff. Drums are awesome for kids, I think. You know, just being able to rock out. Yeah, so I have like a my own section of the basement now, which is completely separated from the rest with a gate that I put up. It's almost like my keeps the fans away. I think every house ought to have a jam room. You know, we had a den that had a piano in it. And that's cool, but I'm talking about like get all the instruments together, and just let the uh, let the family go nuts. We got a concert grand piano on the first floor, and it's huge, dude. It's so huge. It was made in 1870. It's unbelievable, dude. It's like everyone that's moved this thing, and I've moved this thing now like 7 times across the country, back. Everyone that's moved this thing, this piano from 1870, has said it's the heaviest thing that they've ever lifted. It's all mahogany. Voynich, that's good. There are a lot of people that have separate rooms. I even suggested that every member of our family have a separate house on a compound. I thought that would be pretty cool. Have four little dwellings, and everyone can kind of keep whatever space they want, and then like have a bunch of common space that you know, that'd be pretty cool. People need their space, but this piano, dude, uh, it's unbelievable. It was strapped to the inside of a Ryder truck, and the people driving the Ryder truck said that they felt like the piano, like the yo, Sean, what's up, brother? Dude, I love hearing from you in the chats and stuff. Like last night, that was pretty cool stuff that that guy was talking about. Nathan, I saw you there talking about the government, dude. Don't be talking about the government. Mind control, that kind of stuff. Those will get you in deep, deep water. Uh, so the people driving this Ryder truck with this piano in it said that they felt that the truck was going to flip over when they'd go around a turn. Uh, Imagine driving a Ryder truck. The piano is strapped to the side of the truck. They have the straps so you can roll it up the ramp, and then you strap it in real tight to the side of the truck. And then there was other stuff too in the truck. But Scooter, what's up? You and Doc, right? You've been hanging out in some kind of tropical environment. That's awesome, dude. I want to go someplace warm. Yeah. So, could you imagine being having a piano so heavy that it wants to flip the truck? So, this thing was built in 1870, so it's 100 and what 50 years old. And the workmanship that they put into this piano, it's pretty amazing. It's as good as any piano you'd get, like a Steinway or something like that. It's called a Knabe, Knabe. But inside there's this huge harp, and even though the piano was made 150 years ago, everything is in great shape. The thing I had to do with it when I got it was the mechanism that the hammers and the keys of the piano hitting the strings had all deteriorated. So it was, think about it, in 1870 they had a whole bunch of like pulleys and strings and stuff like that to pull the hammers, and all of that had rotted, or just time had taken its toll on the mechanism, the keys. And then some of the keys were, the ivory was all missing from the keys. I got it. It was being used as a prop, so it was about to be thrown out, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Gonna throw this piano from 1870 out?" So I got it pretty cheap, but I put a lot of money into it, and it turns out that the strings on the piano are the original strings from 1870. So I might get it tuned to like 432 and just have fun with it. But uh, in any case, it's pretty amazing. All these hand wound strings. Like back in the day, you would take a big long room and you'd stretch out these strings. Hold on one second. So the sorry about that. The strings, if you think about it, like a big long room where you stretch out these strings and then you wind them. So all this material that's in the piano was from the 1800s. Isn't that wild? And it's got carvings on the legs, and it's just amazing how everything fits together on this thing. You know, the legs have these joints and things that lock together. You could see the handwork and the precision that they had back then. It's really amazing. And when you play it, it just is it's so nice. It's a concert grand piano that's in a room that's not that big, so it really fills up the room. And that's with the lid down, you know. You can open this thing up so that all the sound comes just blasting out. But we have things on the top. It's like I don't know, the top is huge, so we have pictures on it and stuff like that. But it's really durable too. You know, they put in a whole new keyboard, modern keyboard, and all the pedals are all working, and you know, it functions great. And we have so many kids and stuff that come over and beat on this thing and play different tunes, and it's just an amazing piece of machinery, musical machinery. It's kind of my pride and joy. So it hasn't been easy moving it around the country, and you know, but it's worth it to me. Um, but oh yeah, that Floyd's, that was a good cover, the Grateful Dead cover, dude. You got some of those good Truther cover tunes, which is awesome. BB Truth, what's happening? Pat Riot, what's happening? Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile to the rising sun. The three little birds were at my doorstep. They're singing sweet songs, melodies so pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. That's the sound. That's the sound I use when I want to go live on stage. I just add my little reverb. Hey! Welcome. Who's
Good morning,
this?
Christian.
Is this the Truth Seeker?
It sure is. I am having some coffee and listening to some Christian.
Yeah. What's up? How
Not
you?
much. I just got up a little while ago, so.
Yeah, I get up early these days. You know, the
I I would get up early too if I didn't have 10 hot flashes a night while I'm sleeping.
I feel so sorry for anyone going through all these rocky biological stages in their life.
Yeah, it's definitely a trip. A trip I'm ready to get done having because I don't even remember the last time I had an 8-hour sleep steady. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
It's been a few years now.
What do you think? There's got to be a point to the whole process that women have to go through. I know it's you know, it hasn't changed. It doesn't get any easier. It's just like the same kind of process that everyone gets faced with around the
Yeah.
same time, and it's just mind blowing how that's the way the human body just naturally functions with the chemicals and everything like that.
Right.
You
I kind of think like things would be a lot easier for women if we were living correctly and eating the correct things and keeping our hormones and everything in balance and everything with the positive things we're supposed to be putting into our body.
That's
And
interesting.
even
That's
childbirth
interesting.
would probably be a lot easier for women if we lived differently.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see how all these different issues might connect. There might be aspects to childbirth that are in there just to basically make the process as profitable and painful as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. Back in the day, women were lucky to survive childbirth,
Yeah.
and that was in and around the, I guess, through the 1800s and stuff like that. And then they got rid of midwives and put everybody in the hospital because it's too messy and dangerous to have a baby at home. So we got to bring it in
Right.
the hospital where it's sterile, and then it gets all in the birth certificates and everything. But even in the hospital, we're not being born correctly. We're born into a cold, sterile environment, with knives and needles waiting for us.
That's crazy that would be your entree into the world. Like,
Exactly.
hello.
This is what I'm saying is that this first impression that babies are getting now is like, yeah, the world's cruel. Get used to it.
Yeah. In our foster classes that we took as we were becoming foster parents, we learn about like the cycle of trauma,
Mhm.
and how trauma influences the person's existence,
Yeah.
and a lot of it could be buried and completely not at the normal subliminal level. It's like deep-seated trauma, and the brain is constantly working through that trauma, even though the teenager or the toddler might not really be aware of what they went through. The
Exactly.
brain is still processing it.
Well, if we come from source, which would be the light, the creator, and that is obviously a light that bathes you in love and gratitude and warmth and forgiveness and all these positive things. We're coming from that, and then in our mother's womb, which is a warm, safe, comforting environment, to literally a nightmare scenario. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
And then when the babies, they make them scream and cry for the first time. They're trying to get the baby to breathe. Yeah, right. No, you're scarring the baby's lungs from day one. Is what you're doing.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
you ship him off to have his penis cut.
yeah, that's just horrible.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like, all right, get him off, get that penis whacked.
And people, I don't know what they think. I don't know if they're like, well, babies, they don't really feel it. They don't know what's going on. They know what the fuck's going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've watched a baby get shots, and it is horrific. And I can only imagine what the baby must be going through when they're circumcised, because it's not like they're numbing it up or putting the baby to sleep or anything, just to get through this process. They're just snip, snip,
Yeah. And that's that stuff like people do these regressions where they go like basically back to their childbirth trying to confront all the trauma that they faced in their life, and it's if you make it all the way back to your birth, is going to be a horrible memory to
Yeah.
uncover, but it's in there, it's in there. It's
Yeah.
part of the existence that even though it's not in our top of the memory, it has its impact in these
It has a
lower
huge
sides
impact. Yes.
of the brain, different lobes and stuff that are processing data differently. It's definitely in there.
Right.
And
So once it happens and the trauma subsides, like say you get put into your mother's arms finally after being tortured and poked and prodded and things shoved down your throat and up your butt and everything else because they go through and clean the baby, with whatever might still be left in the throat area as far as amniotic fluid or anything like that. They try to suck all that out. The baby goes through quite a process before it gets put back into his mother's arms. And then, once the baby settles down and stops crying, the baby still has to process what happened, because
yeah,
it's still there in its head. It's just that, okay, now it's calmed down with its mother, and we just keep going on with our lives and thinking, but this baby's never processed what just happened to him. And I think part of the night terrors that kids have may be um, that residual thought that they never were able to fully process. Because my son Chris had night terrors, and I'm like, what could he possibly be dreaming about at this young age that he would have a nightmare? And the only
yeah,
traumatic thing that I could think of that happened to him was his birth.
yeah. Could you imagine what it would be like if you're not around a hospital and you're born into this loving environment that just like swaddles you from day one, and you're
Yeah,
you're you're looking up and you're getting your eyes working and your brain working and you're processing all the beautiful
yeah,
data that's coming in from day one. And imagine if someone makes it to the age of 14, let's say, or 18 for that matter, but with no traumas, right? Like
oh yeah. We
it,
would have a
it
completely different disposition through life. We would look at life completely different. First impressions are everything. They know this, and they teach these doctors that this is a procedure you got to go through to deliver a baby, and what you do once the baby's born and stuff. So these doctors, they're not taught what they're not meant to know. They only get their mainstream PhD stuff going on, and it's all wrong.
yeah,
It's totally all wrong. People would be a lot calmer. I mean, really, literally, it has a huge impact on who you're going to be in life and how your life's going to go. It's called trauma-based mind control. And
yeah,
if you wake up in one of these Luciferian families, have the unfortunate mishap to be born into one of these families, your trauma-based mind control starts from day one.
yeah. How about these fathers that take their 14-year-old son out to a prostitute so that they can experience sex for the first time?
What do you mean, like say,
There are a
they're
lot
getting
of these bizarre families that have a dad that thinks he's gonna make his son a man by taking him to a prostitute.
yeah.
Like they're gonna go together. Like, hey, son, you're gonna join me this time, and we're gonna do it together. Is
Yeah,
that
you
is
know
that
what?
freaking bizarre or what?
That's bizarre, and it's also teaching this young person that women are just sex objects
Yeah,
and should be treated as such. So, and then, it's also degrading the whole mindset of this is an intimate thing that should be shared between two people that love each other, whereas it's a business and you could just go get your goodies on here for this amount of time and move on down the road.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like as if it's that insignificant. And of course, obviously, they know the power of the sexual act, and that's why they do sex rituals.
yeah,
Because in while they're climaxing together during a sex ritual is when they're actually thinking of the intent that they want to bring forth.
yeah,
Now, most people, when they're making love or having sex, the orgasm's the most important part. Usually it's a happy ending, but it doesn't go further than that. People just enjoy the act itself without using the intent behind it, because that energy created between two people during the time of climax at the same time, when you're both thinking of the same intent. Now, to us, normal people, we couldn't even imagine trying to think of something else other than the moment that you're in right now. You know what I mean? While it's
Yeah.
happening. But they hone these skills, and they use these sex rituals for their evil intentions, where, of course we could use it for good intentions, like when two people are trying to create a baby at that moment of climax, when they're coming together and climaxing, you could be thinking of your child and all the gratitude you'll have when you realize you're pregnant, and all this stuff, and how you're going to feel when your baby's in your arms, and you'll create a child, and it'll be, all these positive things behind it and everything. And they've just taken the whole sexual act and just demoralized it. And it's just about feeling good and getting your jollies off and moving on, and that's
Yeah.
it. There's nothing else to it.
There's some guy on Facebook, on my Facebook friend group, that posted that during the halftime of the Super Bowl, his son became a man.
Huh.
Like, he was doing it in a joking way, like, wow, that was a lot for my son to take in, as far as the outfits and the dancing and everything like that. But it didn't really affect him in a way other than, like, yeah, my son's now a man. It's that same kind of sentiment, and it's not just American, like, it's just European as well, where it's like, hey, we're gonna see what women can do today. I think in the States, obviously this stuff would be illegal, right? If you take your young boy who's 15 to a whorehouse, that's totally illegal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, when you're watching these halftime shows and you got Janet Jackson's boob flying out, and Beyonce's butt hanging out, and somebody else's junk all over the place, it's eye candy. So it's like, you may not have actually had sex, but all the things that would float through your head, prior to having sex, are gonna go through your brain. You're seeing a woman, supposedly, if it's not a tranny man, excuse my language,
Yeah.
shaking their shit all over the stage, getting everybody all enticed. It's actually just the Masonic Freemason chair dance.
Yeah.
It might not have a chair on the stage, but they're still doing that Kali dance, and it's to put you in a trance and to mesmerize you and to fascinate you, because fascination is one of their words they use in magic, and we use it all the time. Oh, I was so fascinated by this. This was so fascinating. Well, it's just like entertainment. Fascination is it's like a spell they're putting over you to fascinate you.
So
And
it's clear that was like a some kind of celebration for the people, that are Luciferian or something. It seemed like a ritual that was being performed,
oh yeah, absolutely.
And so I wonder if the sexual side of it is to just kind of hypnotize you in a way, so that
Yeah,
all the other stuff goes in perfectly, into your brain. Maybe that's the whole
exactly.
idea.
And how many children are watching these halftime shows now that should be practically X-rated, I
Yeah.
remember, what was it, like 20 years ago, they were real big on that rated R and rated PG stuff. Well, now everything's just rated R.
Yeah.
What I mean? Or mature, whatever. But it's like the things that we expose our children to on a daily basis has become more and more just commonplace now. Whereas before it would be like, oh, you can't watch this, go play somewhere or something. Now it's like they all just join in and watch, and it's desensitizing people to the fact that they're exposing their kids to these rituals or sex rituals, or even the videos that they play of a lot of these songs, like Beyonce and Lady Gaga and all this stuff. They're watching satanic rituals take place before them, but it's disguised as a music video.
Yeah. I mean, it was it was pretty clear once Madonna hit MTV that we were in another
Oh
world.
yeah, 100%. whole nother place. When she did like a virgin for the first time on stage, and she's rolling around and grinding and just flailing all over the place and spreading her legs every chance she got and everything. Yeah, and there's, I mean, I was like 13, 14 when Madonna came out, and I was very influenced by her music and stuff, and it was very. She was portraying that me, I kind of thing, and the only thing that matters is her and what she wants to do with her life, and that kind of brought people into that mindset of, it's just all about me and what I want, and you're preventing me from doing what I want, so I'm going to rebel against you and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And
We're
yeah,
spirits in a material world, right?
yeah, material girl, yep,
Material girl. It. Did you? That was. I saw you last night. Listening to that guy on Stavely's show, Nathan.
Yeah.
And
that was really good. He said a lot of the same stuff that I say, exactly, like almost word for word. And it's funny because I've never listened to his stuff before. And I was just talking about our paths are all converging. We're coming at this thing at the truth by different avenues, but our paths all seem to be converging. And I'm listening to this guy, and I'm like, oh my God, he sounds like me word for word, and I never even listened to this guy before.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I was like, holy crap, I was blown away. But yeah, it seems like we're all seeing the same stuff, and we're all coming to the same conclusions, and ending up at the same place with all this.
Yeah.
We were literally born into one big fucking satanic ritual here.
Yeah. And he was like talking about being like paying attention to the lyrics and the songs that are popping up around you, and the Jeopardy clues and stuff like that. Like every kind of logo that jumps into your mind, or interesting song title or something like that, they all should be, he was talking about Pandora kind of opening up communication with the universe, and using that app on his thing, on shuffle mode. He's getting all of these lyrics and all of these songs that are, kind of giving him clues about what's going on around him, and advice on what to do, Now that's a little like a Ouija board, but at the same time, it's things that I notice with synchronicities and everything like that is there's meaning behind the stuff that pops up in front of your eyes, whether it's a billboard or whether it's a song or what. I went and I put on Pandora on shuffle, and I just this morning I hit play, and the first thing that came up was a song from Blade Runner, which is what I was talking about yesterday. So that's kind of not a huge surprise that a song from
I would take that as a synchronicity, letting you know you're on the right path.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
Guess what the title of the song was?
What was it?
Green Memories.
Oh, really?
And, Stavely was talking about that CNN disinfo thing that was all about weed and memories.
Yeah, wow. See, these are not coincidences. These are synchronicities to let us know. When you get a sign like that after you've already spoken about something, to me that's telling you you're on the right path. Keep going with this. If you get it prior to talking about something, then it's letting you know you need to go down this path and look at it and talk about it. You know what I mean?
And it's like, if you hone in on it, it's giving you little bits of information about the like you're saying, confirmations is a big one. Just a lot of people are saying, help me out here. Let me know what I should be thinking and what I should be doing, because I'm whatever, a little lost in this particular situation, and then boom, something crazy comes out of nowhere, and you're like, wow, that's the answer,
Yeah.
And
a lot of people don't trust that, or they'll be like, oh, it's just a coincidence, Well, how many coincidences need to line up before you realize this is not a coincidence? This is a sign. This is a confirmation, not a coincidence. It's a confirmation to let you know, yes, you're on the right track, or hey, you need to go this direction.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
How about this one? We were watching a hockey match, my wife and I, and it was against the Detroit Red Wings. We were like, I wonder what time that match is on because we're not sure what time zone Detroit is in, right? Like, is that Eastern or is that the mid central? We weren't sure about that. And we went and we watched Jeopardy, and one of the categories was time zone cities. Okay. This is like right after we just talked about it, right?
Right.
It's time zone cities. And the very first clue in the thing is Detroit, Michigan.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, what is Central? Or, I think it's Eastern actually. But the whole idea that it was totally synchronized. So we're thinking about going through New York City, and we asked the kids if they want to go skating at the, the big Rockefeller Plaza thing there.
Yeah.
We went there during the summer, and the rink wasn't up, but now they've got the rink, and we're skaters, so we were thinking about maybe going there. It is kind of weird to be skating in front of that big Greek god thing in the golden. Obviously these statues are paying homage to who they worship, right?
Right. Exactly.
So I try not to pay attention to the crazy stuff around me like that. But so anyway, we're talking to the kids, and then it's bedtime, right? The kids are like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." So we're thinking about it. My wife opens up a library book to read to my son. We hadn't opened it. It's a huge book. You open it, and the very first page is Rockefeller Center with two. It's on both sides. It's like a fold out. And so it's a huge picture of Rockefeller Ice Skating Center.
Yeah.
It's like, how in the world could what are the chances that book and our conversation happen to be talking about the exact same thing?
Exactly. I think we get a lot of answers that we don't recognize. I think because they have us moving through our day so quickly, and our nose is so to the grindstone that we miss a lot of the answers, and they keep us misdirected and entertained and all this stuff like that. That we're not picking up on all the answers and all the signs that we should be getting, or that we'll just mistake them as some random coincidence and not even recognize it for what it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's think about people that are so focused on the slave system that they're caught in that they don't even have a chance to see the synchronicities, like all these things I'm sure are happening in their lives too. Probably all these messages, maybe not. Maybe if you're not open to it, maybe the things just aren't happening,
Exactly. Exactly, or you're just not open to it. It's happening. You just can't see it. I think the more open you are to it, the more easily these answers and little clues and stuff will flow towards you. The more closed off you are to it, you'll get them, but they'll be real small. It's not going to flow as easily to you if you're not open to it, and that's what they want. They want us to have that disconnect, so we don't find the answers that we're seeking. We have to go to them for the answers we're seeking, and they're going to give you nothing but bullshit.
Yeah. How about when you you have people that, like my dad, he died and he never woke up, I don't think, to the stuff that was going on around him. But how about the people that wake up at the very end of their life and it's like, oh my gosh, like Roger Ebert, the movie critic guy, he was on his deathbed and he told his wife, honey, everything's fake. Everything is fake. This whole world is fake. And she's like, what are you talking about? Is that like the morphine? Or, and she really has no idea what he was talking about. But those were his last words. If you look up Roger Ebert's last words. It's
Yeah, I used to watch Siskel and Ebert when I was younger. They were the thing to watch when, whenever they were doing a movie review or any, well, I forget what show that they were on. They were on the tail end of a show at one point where, okay, we're going to go over to Siskel and Ebert now, and they're going to give us their movie review on something, the latest thing that was out. But these people have so much invested in their lives, and, they're entertainers or they just got a lot going on with their careers and everything. Sure, for even those people, at some point in their latter part of their life, they're going to realize
yeah,
what everything is, and they're still going to have to go along with the flow of living their such important lives that they think is so important. But in the end, they're starting to realize. My mom's 70 years old. She just woken up to flat Earth, and she's still in the process of letting go a lot of those emotional attachments that come along with space and the space program and being patriotic and all that stuff like that. So
yeah,
she's got her foot through the door with flat Earth, and I just showed her about the cloud making machines that NASA has, which they disguise them as they're just testing rockets, but it just happens to make this huge cloud over here. You know what I mean? Obviously they're not testing rockets because there's no fucking space.
yeah,
So they're literally just making the weather.
yeah.
And all these things start to unfold before you, and you start to realize it's reality. And she's 70 years old. This reality that you thought was real and you invested in because when you believe in it, you're investing in it.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't we believe it? That's what the authorities are telling us it is. And we're invested in the authorities and have the emotional attachment to that, like they wouldn't lie to us,
Yeah.
NASA's not going
That,
to build this huge thing and tell us it's, for this and it's actually for that. They wouldn't do that, but they
yeah.
would, and they do. And they're still doing, they're going to keep doing it.
That's so important. That investment is also seems like the thing that prevents so many people from digging into the world around them is that they've already made such a huge investment in their education and
Mhm.
the lifestyle of being a slave and making money and buying houses and stuff like that. They're so into that, invested into that, that to even think of themselves, breaking out of that or changing direction where they are in their life, it's
Yeah.
impossible. It seems like the hardest people to get going on a journey to uncovering truths in the world are the ones that have gone down that path, the farthest. Like they've got their doctoral degree in physics or something or
Exactly. And the powers that be, they don't care if you figure this out later on in life. They don't want you to figure it out when you're young. You figure it out later on in life, fine, no problem, because you ain't gonna really be able to do much about it, and you probably won't really speak out about it until you whisper into somebody's ear it's all fake before you die.
yeah.
But they don't want us teaching their kids this, because that's how you get this whole thing to perpetuate, is by starting with the children. If you want a lie to perpetuate through the generations, you're going to start with the children. Let them grow up believing the lie. They're going to teach their kids the lie. They're going to send their kids to your fucking fake ass schools to learn the lie, and so on and so on and so on, and it'll
Right.
just snowball after that. And they don't really have to do much, but just keep providing the lie for us to invest in.
Yeah.
Um, if you teach your children this stuff, like Joey Rocha was talking about his daughter being vaccine free, born at home, all this stuff, everything that he said is exactly what I want to do with my grandchildren when they're born. Because I've
Yeah.
already had this conversation with my kids. If you go into the hospital to have your baby, then you're literally signing your baby over to the state. It's not your baby, and they're going to do what they want and what they have scheduled and lined up for that baby accordingly. Um,
Yeah,
so the
that's
best thing
absolutely right. It's
so you're allowing your baby from day one to be put into the system. Whereas if you do it the way Joey Rocha did it, your baby will have a choice whether it on its own wants to enter into that system and contract with them at some later point. If the child grows up and says, "Hey, well, I really want a Social Security card. I want to get my license, and I want to go. I want to be a part of all this." Well, this will be coming from a child who already knows what freedom's like. You know what I mean? Where most of us have no clue. You
yeah.
know, and his daughter's very smart. She barely gets sick. Super awake and attentive. Where these kids now are like lethargic, or they have ADHD. They're eating all these poison foods that is making their whole chemistry off balance. And then they're going and getting their shots and their booster shots and all this stuff like that. Um, People really need to take their kids out of the government funded school system and stop having their babies in their government funded hospitals,
Yeah.
because there's no accident that they have us having our babies in hospitals. And once the baby, as soon as the baby comes out, capital name is immediately attached to the child, and that's a legal document. You're signing your child over to the state, and if you don't do what the state requires you to do to your child, which is these round of shots and boosters, putting your kid into public school, all this stuff, that goes along with being a good parent. And if you don't do one of these things, they're going to deem you a bad parent and come take your child away.
Yeah.
Just like if you don't make your car payment, they're going to come take your car away.
Yeah.
Because they can. They own it. You signed it over,
Yeah, they'll just shut you down, It's like and that's what I worry about communication as well. Is like you'll be turned off. Literally, you won't be able to communicate with anyone.
Yeah.
It's like uh, if you think about America being like this beacon of capitalism, yet we're all for this publicly funded educational system that brainwashes our kids for 18 years, you realize that it's a complete mind trap that we're putting our kids into,
It's the same thing with private schools. I went to 12 years of Catholic school, and the only difference between our curriculum and the government-funded curriculum is religion. We have that in there.
Right.
Other than that, it's the same exact curriculum.
Yeah.
And there's no difference. It's not like, they're teaching you any secrets of the universe, or they're gonna add in all these extra courses that you would never get in government-funded schools.
Yeah.
They have to follow the same curriculum as well. And for them to do that, the government gives them tax exempt.
Yeah. It's the thing at the end of the life is really scary, because if you wake up to, let's say, the flat earth at the end of your life, you can kind of go, that's that's mind-blowing. But if you wake up to the fact that you bought into a system and that almost every moment of your life was controlled by another entity, and you never really got to be free and do what you wanted to do or felt was the way you wanted to live your life, then the sentiment is my life was a complete waste,
Yeah, and then you realize that you've never had an original thought in your life, so you don't even know what freedom is. You can't even fully grasp the concept of what freedom is because you've never even had an original thought in your life from the day you're born.
Yeah.
Even if you're being creative and paint a picture or something, it's all going to be based on preconceived stuff that was already put out for you.
Yeah.
So we're never left to our own devices. They make sure they do not leave us to our own devices because they need us to be steered in a certain direction. If we're left to our own devices, we'll figure this shit the fuck out.
Yeah.
That's why we have 24/7 entertainment. That's why you have to go to 8 hours of school. You have to work 9 to 5. You have all these bills to pay. It's all to keep you misdirected so you're never left to your own devices. That's why people come home from work and they have 2 hours before they got to go to bed after they've made dinner and cleaned up everything and did their kids' homework that they want to sit down and just do nothing and be entertained. They don't have time to look up this shit that we're looking up and stuff. I was fortunate enough to have a shit ton of time on my hands through the years to be able to get into this stuff and really look at it. Whereas other people, I can't get them to even watch a 5-minute video, a 2-minute video even. It's like, all right, did you watch it yet? 3 weeks has gone by. I haven't watched it. I haven't had time. You don't have time to watch a 2-minute video? But you have 2 hours to watch your latest game show and whatever's going on, Dancing with the Stars or whatever the fuck's out there. So that they've got us, left to their own devices, not our own devices and our own thoughts.
There's so many people that are in our truther community that have had the opportunity somewhere along their lives, and it might have been, unfortunately, a medical emergency or incident that got them home in bed or recovering from an accident or in jail or something like that. Something that unplugged them from the system for a short period of time, and that's enough for them to dive into these topics and come up with some truths that could propel them on a, like, when I became a foster dad, I was at home changing diapers and stuff like that. And, kids in the in the crib sleeping, and you get to tune into something, right? You get to watch something for and prior to this, I had always been working real hard in my life, through
Right.
companies that I had started and all of this. But this downtime gave me the opportunity to like delve into these topics, and I'm so glad that happened. It's a lot of people just at the age of, you know, 90, they're like, I've never pulled my head up and done anything original. I've just done what people have told me for my whole life. And
Yeah. And even if they do get an inkling for a minute that something doesn't seem right, it doesn't really take them down a journey of truth at all. It's like they'll have the inclination. Well, that don't sound right. My grandfather had the inclination that the moon landings were not exactly what they told us. How much did he delve into it back then? He did work for Honeywell, which helped out with a lot of the rockets that they supposedly used and stuff. Everything was compartmentalized, but they didn't have the internet back then. So the communication level wasn't there between other people who may have felt the same thing that he did, and they couldn't brainstorm and share information like that. But, a lot of people don't travel down that road. They'll be like, this isn't right. How could they, whatever. And then they just move on with their lives.
yeah, yeah. You know, the thing is, I have a wife that's amazing. She doesn't go down these rat holes like I do. These rabbit holes. But one thing that does resonate with her big time is, while we're here, we've got to focus on doing, what we want to do, what we want to accomplish as a family and as a couple and everything like that, and to really take all of the matrix stuff and put it on the back burner relative to the things that we've deemed important, which we put on the front burner. And so I even if people don't wake up to certain truths until later on in their life, as soon as, and this is, I've been doing this for a long time, encouraging people, because when I got out of college, I had no desire to work for corporate America. So I started my own company and I started doing well, right? And all through my life, I've been entrepreneurial to the extent that I really just love encouraging entrepreneurship in others, like
Right.
if you've got a passion, if you've got something you're good at and that you love doing it, figure out what you need to do in your life to tune out everything else and focus on what motivates you,
Yeah.
and even if you don't wake up to all of the things that I've gone into, at least get yourself off the hamster wheel.
Yeah. I've always felt that this is not how we're supposed to be living. There's got to be more to life than this crap. And and then you come to find out we're doing everything wrong, backwards and upside down, and under the guise that this is the correct way to do things. And I just feel like, thank God I woke up when I did. It was in my 30s. And it takes people, besides young people like Steve, who seem to be really awake and who's 24 years old, it takes you a good 30 years before you even get an inclination that things aren't what you thought they were.
Yeah.
Where, for them, it works because they got you the whole first 30 years of your life. And if they can keep you entertained and distract it and misdirect it and stuff, you'll still stay on that path of lies and deception that they have you on.
Yeah. It's interesting. I see, I grew up with this kind of American dream that was pushed upon me that I rebelled against. But I don't see the younger people buying into that same American dream. Like, if you put that in front of them, they'd be like, fuck no, I don't want that, right? And now they might be tuned out to that, and they might be tuned into other irrelevant things, but they're at least not focused on the same fake crap that we were, like the moon landing, right? It's there are a lot of kids, I think, at the age of 10 or 12 or 14 that could be like, yeah, I could see them faking that,
Looks pretty fake to me, because they're not in the brainwashing cycle like we were, where it was, they can kind of look at it from with some fresh eyes. Now the problem is they do get the indoctrination in the school system, but I think more and more the science programs are going to be stepping away from the things that they know are controversial. The things that they think are people are not buying. Maybe it's dinosaurs or something like that, and they're like, well, we don't really know about too much about dinosaurs, right? And they might be able to modify curriculums to kind of take into account that there's a lot of people that don't buy the moon landing, right? So as soon as they ease up on that part of the curriculum a little bit, people might be open to the idea that the whole thing might be a fake,
Yeah, well, the American dream has morphed over the years. They've molded it into something else, and now it's the American dream is a virtual reality for these kids, and they don't look at things the way we used to look at them, where it was, you have to get a job, develop a career, buy the things that you want, to have that house with the white picket fence and the car and 2.5 kids or whatever. And the kids today, it's a virtual reality for them. The American dream now is to be famous, to have all these people follow you and have all these accolades, and look at this awesome, who can do the most outrageous thing, if you get that many thumbs up and views or whatever. It's all about like me, I kind of thing. It's like, look what I just did, look what I just accomplished as far as this video or whatever like that. And we're out doing the same thing to a certain extent, but we're basing our stuff on truth, whereas these kids today are basing it on the latest prank that they did, or the latest makeup tutorial that they did, or something like that. Mindless things that don't matter in the huge scheme of things at all. People are investing that's their American dream now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been going on for a long time. Think of sports. It's just like a stupid game, right? But we're all like the American male especially is locked into these games like it matters, like something matters there, and it just doesn't. Now, TikTok is pretty corny. The whole idea of doing dance moves in front of a camera so that you could get likes and stuff like that is it's a little bit twisted, but I think there are positives to the kinds of networks that people are building today with the systems in place.
It's a double-edged sword for them, because they've given us all this technology that we're using and the kids are using now. We're using it for, obviously, we're using their weapon against them, where these kids are using it as they're being distracted by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
you don't see a shit ton of 10, 11, 12-year-olds or 14, 15, 16-year-olds talking about the stuff that we're doing, talking about, because they don't know. They're just exposed to this fake overlay, the world that has been pulled over their eyes to blind them from the truth. That's what they're living in. And we're woke up to the truth, and we're using their platforms to try and spread that. That's why we always get the low views, or we're getting shit taken down, or the thumbs up are all messed up and everything like that, because YouTube doesn't want the average person to see the impact that we're actually making. But you got a kid over here who just did a TikTok video, or a makeup tutorial, or some whatever, and it's got 1 million views, 1 million thumbs up, and all this stuff like that. So it leans in their favor that way, but it's meant to do that.
Listen to this, Jen. Stavely put one of my videos, he shared it on his channel, right? It's the song Fucking Flat, Have you heard that one?
Yeah.
So
yes.
he puts it on his channel, and supposedly more people would be able to watch the video, right? Because he's got a big network of people and stuff like that. My views went down.
Oh yeah, I believe it. It's happened to me numerous times.
And I
I'm
was
like,
like,
how is that possible? Or it'll say you lost subscribers, but yet you've just heard from the chat you have a shit ton new subscribers to your channel, and yet your
exactly.
subscriber count has gone down. You lost 100, or you lost 50.
They're totally cooking the numbers, And I was like, I texted Stavely and was like, thanks, dude. You're like really, you know, losing traffic on my videos here, Like
Yeah.
once Stavely touches my video, it's all of a sudden open to this network of trolls, and YouTube is probably looking at me big time like, let's drop his numbers.
Oh yeah, for sure. Every time I do live streams now, they're getting taken down the minute it's done and processed through. Like 5 minutes after it hits YouTube, it's flagged up for flagged for review and taken down because I crept up to their guideline and they got to push me back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just had my live stream the other night taken down. It was called Coronavirus Mindfuckery, and then the rest of the title was about this cop who threatened to shoot a kid on campus. So granted, it wasn't the best title, I admit it, but I don't like this. I don't like to edit myself in any kind of way. That's what I was feeling. That's what popped into my head, and that's the fucking title I put up there. And it's not for kids. It's checked in the box. It's not for kids. But YouTube can't have me, having my own original thought in the title. It's like, no, this isn't good enough. We got to take your video down. You better rename this shit. And that's what I did. Luckily for me, I downloaded it the minute it hit YouTube. I downloaded it. And then the very next day when I woke up, it was already gone. And I was like, okay, let me see if I can just change the title and change the thumbnail and see what happens then. And it's still up there.
Yeah. Well, I got that one whacked. Remember, you and I did a show and it got whacked. That was a copyright thing. But how about Nathan that had a playlist? Not even any content. He actually had a playlist of material that just pointed to other content that was out there, and they took that down.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. They don't want you spreading the truth. They don't want you taking people away from their misdirection and leading them over to the truth. So they gotta squash that whenever they can. And they definitely don't like us using their weapons against them, which is what I do. That's what I do at Facebook. I'm only on Facebook and YouTube. I don't subscribe to Instagram and Twitter and all that extra crap. But I do use Facebook against them, and I use YouTube against them every chance I get.
Yeah. Do you have you gone the DLive route?
I was on there to listen to some of Brian's stuff, so I'm signed up, but I don't go over there and do stuff because it seems to me there's a lot of extra steps to go live on that, and I'm already just acclimated to StreamYard and stuff, so I'm thinking that's just a little. I don't want to have to go through all these extra steps, so I'm sticking with YouTube for now as long as I can, but when I have to go over there, I will.
Yeah. It doesn't save the videos for more than 3 days. So I thought that was kind of like, if I were to stream only on DLive, none of the content would be preserved in any way,
No, unless you figure out a way to download it as soon as you're done, but I don't even know if it has those options on there.
Yeah, that's a lot of steps too, and a lot of time and a lot of space that you'd be downloading these like multi-gigabyte files onto,
Yeah, I mean, you go on DLive or even YouTube and you're streaming for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. That takes a long time to process through and everything. Because even a 2-hour live stream, it takes a good 45 minutes before it's going to hit your YouTube.
Yeah.
And yeah, so so today I have a mission.
Oh, I like that.
My mission today is to work on my song.
Okay. What do you are you playing a song, singing a song, writing the lyrics? Where are you in the process?
I am writing the lyrics, and it's going to be a rap song, so I'm not actually singing. But I'm basing it on Tupac's Hellraiser. So it goes in his song "Mama Raised the Hellraiser," and I'm going to be saying "Mama Raised the True Seeker."
Nice.
Yeah, and his lyrics in Hellraiser are one of the most rawest lyrics that he's put out. When the song originally came out, it was banned from the radio because he talks about, killing crooked cops and all this stuff like that. And, they didn't, back then it was like, oh, he's talking about killing cops in his video, so it's banned from MTV and all this stuff, banned
Yeah.
from the radio. But it's a really good song, and it's one of his most rawest ones, I think. And, he uses the N word and the F word through the whole song. So
Right.
I'm just going to go through and change all the words, but it's going to have the same exact flow.
Are you gonna use like the backing track to sing on
Yes.
top of? Okay.
Yeah, because I already gone on and looked at the instrumentals for the song, and so I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to overlay my voice onto it and try to bust it all out. But today is what I'm doing. I'm focusing on. I have a lot of good lyrics put down, but they're not all put together.
Yeah. Hey, don't hesitate to hit me up if you need any, any streaming. I don't have a lot of knowledge with this streaming stuff, but any of the computer technical stuff, the song stuff that you're working on, just don't hesitate to hit me up if you.
Oh, thank you. I
need to ask
appreciate
me
that.
for it.
I'll need all the help I can get. I love how Callie, she just went for it, and
Yeah.
her song turned out really cool. I love the way she did that and everything. So I'm just going to kind of follow her lead and just, put it all together as best I can and then run through it. And then I'm going to try to lay it down and see how it turns out because I've
Yeah.
never done anything like this before.
That's what Brian does, with his songs, and he's got a lot of fans of his songs, which is really awesome because that's it. It's just pure, I'm gonna put this down and make it raw and put it out there, and it's really cool to see it resonate with so many people. That's what I think is exciting about this community is there's so many musicians doing cool things that I hope, this is my hope, that we do have things like the Globe Live tour where the bus went around to different locations and did flat smacking and stuff like that. But I do believe that what this community needs is social get-togethers in a way that is really fun. Like not just meetups, but like a schedule of meetups where people can fellowship. And it's not about flat smacking others. It's really about just getting to a place where there's a bunch of kindred spirits that can enjoy a night or two, and music would be a part of that, So
Yeah.
I kind of think of it as the Grateful Dead kind of moving around the country. I'm thinking about a tour of music that stops in major cities and people know where the stops are and everything like that. And for one night when the bus is in town, a bunch of truthers could meet out somewhere and have a great time, not worried about what they say or what they, just basically hanging out with the people around them that they haven't gotten the chance to hang out with. So
Yeah, it would be cool. It would be like a truther version of Woodstock.
yeah,
That
Yeah.
would be so sweet.
Truth Stock.
Yes, man, I'm telling you, we should do it. We got to go rent a plot of land and set it all up, and we'd have all, like you and Dread and everybody else who makes all this truth music come out, and it could go on for like days and shit. We could,
Oh my gosh, Jen, that is amazing. Truth Stock.
Absolutely, I think we're on to something there.
How killer would that be? And like all the music, I've been playing all this music in 432, and then all the lyrics I've been rearranging to be truther lyrics and stuff like that. So like we could do so many gigs, We could do one act after another probably for a good day or two.
Absolutely. You know what's funny, Christian, is that I have you here on my computer screen, and your whole video, the chat and everything just is all locked up. It won't even do anything anymore. It's just like, it seems like every time I either get on a really good stream or I'm talking to somebody, my computer just shuts down. It's like, even when I'm listening to a stream, I'm tooling around the house and say I got Brian on or something, my shit starts skipping and stopping and getting all glitched out. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'll click on the video down below it. It could be some stupid recommended thing from who knows what, and it'll play perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's definitely a lot of skepticism people have been having for the technical glitches they've been getting because of the timely nature of them.
Yeah.
Now it could be that you have a lot of apps open because you're working on the song and then you're streaming and then you're,
I literally just put my computer on, and it's the only window I have open is you on YouTube, and I can't even get it to play. It's just a wheel of death. The chat completely froze. Nothing's going on. And I just tried to open up another tab and get YouTube up on a second tab, and it won't even come up.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the F? I mean, this is the first I've turned my computer on all day.
Well, you know that all the backdoors have been put into the software that we're using to enable them to toggle our experience the way they want to. There's I don't believe that all these things are just software hosing up, like bugs that just manifest at that moment. I do believe that there are algorithms that can be put in place to cause havoc that would never be detected.
Absolutely. They can make an algorithm do anything they want. And I never, buy into the mainstream thing that they say, well, this is what the algorithms can do. Yeah, it can go do this, but it can also do a shit ton of stuff over here that we're not going to mention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're not going to tell us all their weapons. If you're at war with somebody, you're going to have some top secret shit put away that you can hit the enemy with
Yeah.
that they just don't know about.
But if you wanted to launch like 8 Madonna videos, they'd play perfectly, right?
Oh, yes, of course. Literally, I just tried to write in the chat and say hi to some people. I can't even get my cursor to go in the chat. Nothing is working. I just had to shut my computer off. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah, I was talking to a guy 2 days ago, and the phone just went dead. And he was like, there's no reason that my phone should have gone dead, but I think I'm being watched,
Oh, for sure. Yep.
So
exactly. And, I think they target areas even. A lot of people think, well, I think I'm being targeted. I think sometimes they target a whole area.
Yeah.
I woke up feeling like I got hit by a truck, and I shouldn't even feel that way. There's nothing wrong with me at all. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck's wrong with me? What's going on? And it's kind of hard to focus on things you want to do and accomplish during the day, or even get your thoughts together on maybe another video you want to make when you're walking around like you just got hit by a truck.
Yeah. It was interesting. I went to Costa Rica, and I had some interesting run-ins there with people, and was
it an island when you went there, or was it landlocked?
I think it was landlocked with. No, it wasn't an island. No, is it an island now?
No, well, I remember Costa Rica as an island nation, and apparently it's never been an island nation.
Yeah. Well, it could technically be. I'm not sure. It's surrounded by water on like both sides, right? And then, but if there's
it's
water
more kind
above
of like
it,
a little mini peninsula now.
yeah,
Yeah.
it could be that. But I went to this guy's house, and as I was walking into his house, I passed this truck, and there are 2 guys in the front of this white Ryder truck. It's not even it's like an unmarked white truck in front of this guy's house, and
Wow.
listening to Madonna music. I'll never forget that. When we got to the house, I said, "Hey Marvin, there's like a white truck out front with guys in it just looking into your house. And he goes, "Oh, don't worry. They've been here a month."
Wow. So you know you're doing something right when you got that kind of shit going on. Like I said, like with all the streams that get taken down, and they don't want us getting people's attention because they need people's attention to be all distracted and looking at something else.
Yeah.
So the only thing they can do is take our shit down and everything, and it's just like, oh, it's so frustrating because again, we're using their weapon against them, so they can pull the plug on us anytime they want. But it is what it is. So
that's the thing, when I've got this computer background that is always messing with my head because I'm always trying to think of a communication mechanism where we could speak to each other across this plane in a way that wasn't controlled, like how could we do the things that we do without having the governments controlling the wires and the signals and the frequencies, and all of that kind of stuff is completely controlled and able to be shut down, anytime they want, and censored, which is probably the worst part of it, is they can completely control, just like a television network, what reaches your eyes,
exactly.
or your ears.
The only way that could happen, though, is if we were using all our senses and we could telecommunicate and read each other's minds. But they've cut that from us, which I think this is how we were supposed to be. I think we're trapped in our language by using this common tongue that they have us speaking in. I think we were supposed to be more telepathic. And when you have telepathy going on, and you can't lie to each other because you can read each other's minds. So 99.9% of the bullshit that we have going on wouldn't work just because of that fact. You know what I'm saying? And I would be able to communicate with people in Australia and Thailand and Massachusetts and all over the place because you can astro travel and you can telecommunicate.
Yeah.
Instead, they gave us telephones. Or televised your vision, all this stuff.
And it's like, we're going to give you the messages that you're going to receive. It's amazing the system that we're born into, and
it truly is a beast.
It is
literally
a beast.
An insidious beast system that we are in, and it's evil from top to bottom.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, at the same time, if I looked at all of these different time periods, like early Christian time periods or Egyptian or whatever, like Renaissance, Dark Ages, like I can't think of a better time for us to be alive than now.
Yeah, it's definitely
it is a
time to be alive for sure.
It is a twisted system, and it is a a thing that we've become aware of because the technology that enables us to see and communicate certain things, but at the same time, it gives you kind of like a mission and an understanding that those other time periods may not have had. Like if you were born in the Renaissance, maybe there was just nothing, there's a lot of science happening back then, but that's like the beginning of all the brainwashing,
Yep.
So
exactly.
the ability to get your own ideas and thoughts are not there because all the publishing is owned by the Queen, and all the grants to do the research and everything is owned by the royalty, So it's like you're basically born into a slave system. But once we got the internet, and once we got email, and once we got ham radio, and once we got these things in place where people could start to challenge the thinking, the publishing and the books that are coming out. I mean, it's amazing. I've got English majors for friends that have been doing a lot of digesting of material that has all been brought through this filter of, academia and royal societies and everything like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and
It
it's
was
just like a
those were the approvers of all the stuff that was being put out. You
yeah,
know, and the authority figures. So they set themselves up right from the get-go, from the last reset, as they're the authority figures. So whatever comes down the pike has to be approved by them. They're the authority, and if it's something that's not approved by them, well, then that's not worth even looking at because it's not approved by the authority.
right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's an exciting time, and honestly, there if we were born in the 50s, you and I would not be talking probably,
Yeah, yeah,
and
I
so
agree.
it's I I told my wife, I said this a couple days ago. I told my wife about, like, I don't know, 8 9 years ago. I said I don't really know why I feel this way because I've never been prone to be involved in any group at all. Like I was always independent. I was doing independent study projects. I never joined a fraternity. I wrestled in which is a team sport, but you're out there on the mat by yourself. But the you know the the I was always independent, but I told my wife I just feel like I'm gonna be part of, like, some really warm, amazing group, and I don't know what that group is or what it looks like. And I really didn't until I started calling into Stavely's show, and
Yeah,
it was
me
like,
too. Me too. I'm totally with you there because I was on my path already. I had a channel for a while and stuff, and I was already putting out a lot of truth. But it wasn't until I came across Brian and started calling into his show, and really getting into chats that I became part of this community. And it's like, wow, there's just so many people. I would read the comments below my videos, but it's a whole different ballgame when you're actually live chatting with people.
yeah,
Um, and to feel that welcomeness and that camaraderie, and or whatever the words are that I'm trying to look for, but to feel a part of something that's this amazing, and to feel the pain that people feel that they have to go through in their lives when they're trying to present this to their loved ones or friends or coworkers, whatever. It seems like we've all gone down those same paths, and we've all experienced the same exact stuff. The problem is that we're so spread out. We're so few and far between in our local areas here that it's like we're sinking and swimming at the same time. Like that the other day when I was out in my car having my little meltdown, it was like I can't deal with this. I don't even want to be here. What am I doing here? I'm stuck in the sea of ignorant people with all these symbols surrounding me, and
yeah,
I got to work in this environment. My brain's like, you get out of here, just run the other way, but you can't because you got to have a roof over your head, you got to pay bills. And it just gets to you sometimes. It's just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to feed the beast system in any way. I don't want to even leave my house and get in my car with its fucked up Ford symbol on it and participate in any sort of way and feed this beast.
yeah. I hear you, and that's one thing that we really have to connect on, because there does seem to be a common thread that there are, suicidal thoughts when all of this stuff starts to go racing. You
Well, I don't, and it does sound like suicide. I'm sure people have those type of thoughts, like, oh, I just want to get out of
yeah,
here. I want to kill myself. I want to move on to the next thing or whatever. I want to do what we're supposed to be doing here. I don't
yeah,
want to do all this other crap. I just want to
yeah,
be doing what we're supposed. Now, what exactly we're supposed to be doing, I don't know what that is because I don't know what that looks like because I've never had an original thought to even try to figure that out. I have an inclination of what it is we should be doing,
yeah,
but everything that we are doing is it's the complete opposite of what we're supposed to be doing. It's just
yeah,
like space. They have us on a ball hurtling through space, spinning. No, we're flat and stationary. They have the stars billions of light years away. No, they're actually super close.
yeah. Well,
Um,
Nathan was talking yesterday, and I thought he said some really profound stuff. But one was that you're given. He feels like he was given a choice. Do you want to escape this world, or do you want to stay here and try to, like, work to save it in a way, and to spread the messages that were being given about the truth of the reality that we're in and stuff like that. And when you look at it that way, he basically says to himself, no, I want to be here and work through the madness,
Yeah.
but I want to
It's
armor myself with the things that can deflect all this garbage from me, and be able to boil it down so that my life is focused on doing what I know is right and good and amazing,
Well, that's the thing about what we're doing, and we're speaking out, and we're trying to wake people up and change things. Whereas other people, there's probably a shit ton of people out there who are closet truthers, closet flat earthers, closet Mandela effectors, who, okay, they see it. Maybe they just don't know what to do with this information. They got so much shit going on with their lives, they don't have time to process it, let alone even try to talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
And then there's people like us who are very vocal. And anytime I'm sitting idle and I'm not being vocal, I'm thinking about the next time I'm going to be vocal.
Yeah.
And in the midst of all that, I just mutter through. But I think like we may be, God's apostles. We are the ones that have that extra spark to get us to be put out there and to try to show people. We're way showers, or if you want to say it like that. I used to talk to Jordan Maxwell. I know a lot of people have, their thoughts on Jordan Maxwell. I took from him what I could at the time when I was into listening to him, and I called him twice. And I'm like, I just don't understand why I can see it and other people can't. Why can I see it? I'm no different than anybody else. What have I done differently? I used to watch Tell Eyes to Your Vision. I used to listen to all the crap music. I used to eat all the, not eat all the crap food. I did eat well through my life. I was always healthily conscious about that. Maybe that's that one thing that worked for me. I didn't have all that extra poison in me to clog up my brain and whatever. And I'm able to see through the bullshit. But I also want to be vocal about it and show other people. And that's what, God, the Creator, I think, maybe assigned us to this stuff, or maybe we actually made the choice to come here and fulfill this purpose.
Yeah.
But we just don't remember having that that agreement. Yes, I'm going to come here, and I'm going to use my frequencies and my positive energy vibration to help wake up other people who need somebody like me to wake them up. And I have woken up a shit ton of people over the years.
Yeah.
I had people come up to me in stores in Florida who I gave out DVDs to about 9/11. Now, granted, it might not have been all the right information about 9/11. I might not have had the hoax plane thing all figured out, but it was taking their mindset from these people over here did this to us to, no, wait a minute, our own government did this to us.
Yeah.
And that's scratching the surface, I know, but sometimes that's the push that people need.
Yeah.
And I've had people come up to me like, "Oh my God, there you are! I just want to say thank you to you. You woke me up, and I've gone down this road, and I've looked at chemtrails, and I sat there and had a 2-hour conversation with somebody in the middle of Walmart when I'm supposed to be running in to grab something and heading somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I'll just put everything on the back burner so I can stand here and have this, amazing conversation with somebody while everybody else is just, walking by and moving around us and muttering through their daily grind in Walmart or whatever. And I'm sitting here having a profound conversation with somebody, and it's not like, oh, haha, look, I just woke somebody up, and I got this person, I got 10 people I woke up. It's not even like that. It's like this overwhelming feeling of joy and elation and just gratitude that you're swimming in while you're listening to this person tell you all the stuff that they discovered, and they can't believe that they bought it all this time, and now they just see it for what it is. And those people say to me, like, you've helped me see the truth. I feel like I'm seeing things for the first time in my life, and I'm like, I'm just grateful that you are seeing things, and that maybe now you can go and help somebody else see something.
Yeah. That's amazing ability, and you are. You have a special gift with the ability to truth smack anyone. You don't give a fuck. It's like I know what is going on here, and I need to tip this person to the truth that this is not a good road to be going down. And I must say, I keep to myself a lot of times, and there are probably lots of times when I wish I was more like you, and I could just go on up to someone in line and say something to them. My mother-in-law was getting heart medication for her husband, my father-in-law, and she's in the pharmacy line, and a lady just out of nowhere tapped her on the shoulder and said, "Are you taking those?" And she said, "No, they're for my husband." And she said, "Well, does he need to take the heart medication?" And my mother-in-law said, "Well, the doctor decided to put him on it to be preventative, right?" And she said, "Well, how does he feel?" And she said, "Well, it makes him really loopy, and it kind of messes with him, but this is what the doctor, was saying he has to do." And
Yeah.
the lady was like, "Take him off now. Like, get him off, because they want you dead at 67."
Yeah, and it's no accident that all these medications have 20 different side effects, and then you got to take more medicines. I read The Secret Covenant online. Once you read The Secret Covenant by yourself, you sit down and you really read it. It's like this is exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
They say they're going to help us by giving us poisons, and then when those poisons, have all these other side effects, they're going to give us more poisons for it, and
Yeah.
it's all being done by it's preventative. We're going to take this pill now because you don't have it yet, but if you take it, this will prevent it. It's like, give me
Yeah.
a break. Not preventive all the natural ways that you could do preventive maintenance on yourself. No, take this pill that comes from big pharma, and it's going to give you 2-3 other side effects that you weren't even expecting. But
Yeah.
we'll have something for that too.
Yeah. No, I mean it's crazy. And the she actually considers this lady a an angel that came up to her. So what you're doing is like the work of angels by doing that. And I wish I could be more like that. It is not my nature to like jump into anyone's business and tell them stuff, like out of nowhere. I don't have that kind of guts like you or Joey. I mean, it's you guys are, but the more I see people like you and see how you work and how you can muster up the courage to talk to these people, it is very helpful for me to kind of develop that side of myself, because I do believe it's what the angels would want us doing.
Yeah, and it only takes one little thing sometimes, like it just to plant a seed. Like for instance, yesterday I was getting some distilled water from the water section in Walmart. So I get the 1-gallon jugs of distilled water for 80 cents. It's great value. And this lady pulled up next to me with her cart. I'm loading my cart up, and the distilled water is up top, so you got to reach up to get this gallon of water. Of course, they put the good stuff out of your reach. And I said, "Oh, you need some distilled water?" She's like, "Yes, I'll take a gallon." So I got her one down. I stuck it in her cart. I said, "Do you need any more?" Because I'm loading my cart up. And she's like, "Oh, no, I just get this for my husband's dialysis." And I was like, "Oh, well, I drink it." I said, maybe
Yeah.
you should start drinking it. Not just you. I said, I'm 50 years old. Took my glasses off. I have my sunglasses on because I always wear my sunglasses in Walmart because their overhead lights give me headaches, the fluorescents or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah.
Um,
On
and she's like,
purpose,
"Wow, oh my
probably,
God,
right?
you're 50." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't need the doctor. I never go to the doctor. No medicine, no nothing. Just, this is it."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Wow, I'll have to try that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, unless you want the doctor to be your new best friend, and give him all your money,
Yeah.
this is the way to go." And I just moved on with my life. But I work in an environment where I see what people are shopping for. So where I'm at work, people are passing me all day long with their shopping carts, and I
Yeah.
keep looking at their shopping carts when they pass, and I'm like, "Oh my God." Obviously this is what's wrong with this person. Or you'll see somebody dressed like as if they work in a medical field, like a nurse or something. But she'll have all this crap in her cart. And
Yeah.
I'm like, how can you, how do you not, how do you not know this, or whatever? Or you'll see somebody who's obese,
Yeah.
and they're pushing their cart through, and you see all this processed crap in their cart, and of course they have to have the diet sodas, because
Yeah.
like as if that's going to help them. And one day I just, I can't. I get to a point where I have to say something, and it's like, I do hold myself back a lot because I'm at work, but if I get a break and I'm walking past somebody like the lady who had Diet Dr Pepper all around their cart on the edges of her cart hanging there, and I just walked up to her. I was like, look, I look her right in the eye, and the first thing I say is, I love you. And
Yeah.
they'll look at me, but you know that they're looking at you like, oh, this is something you're just saying. And I'm like, no, I make sure I keep eye contact with them, and I'm like, I'm not just saying this. I love you. And I have to tell you that this diet soda that you're drinking, obviously it's something you like. You got it in your cart and stuff. I said, it's not good. And I'll start telling them about aspartame. And this lady was really receptive. She stood there and she listened to me. And I was like, if you're gonna drink this soda, just get the regular,
Yeah.
but drink it in moderation. Oh, the doctor said, oh, I have to go sugar free. I have diabetes. Okay, well, if you really like this soda, drinking diet is not going to help your situation whatsoever. This is not the way to go. If you
Yeah.
really have to have this soda, drink it, but start drinking it in moderation. Figure out a way to wean yourself down from the normal 10 cans you drink a day or something like that.
Yeah. You know,
Because he's just sending you down a path where you're going to get sicker.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And those I love the fact that you can jump into conversations like that. I was just thinking about ways that I might be able to do this. One thing, we went to Vegas one time with my in-laws, and there's all kinds of people that are like handing you literature and cards for like nudie bars and stuff like that while you're in Vegas.
Uh-huh.
So, I was like, they just kind of hand you all this stuff, and I was taking them and putting them into my father-in-law's pocket, right? So we would like stop at a place, and he couldn't tell I was putting them in his pocket, but like we would stop someplace and he'd reach in and he'd pull out like 3 nudie bar cards, and he'd be like, "Oh my gosh, what, this is crazy. What's going on here?" But he thought that like Vegas was stuffing his pockets with literature, right? And it was really just me behind him, and he was getting really freaked out. Anyway, I'm thinking like, what if there were truther cards? It's like a pack of cards that you could have with you at all times, and it just starts out with, "I love you. You're a beautiful person. You are made for a reason, and the soda you're drinking is horrible. It goes against everything. Here's a few little things, just a bunch of information that's very specific to a shopping cart or a particular case in Walmart, and just like somehow drop it in a purse or a pocket or the shopping cart. So,
Yeah.
even if they're in line and they just kind of like are unloading their stuff and they go, "Oh, what's this?" And it's a card that says, "Stay away from this product."
Yeah.
Maybe some people would do that, but in a non-confrontational way, a little bit sneaky, albeit, but at the same time, like maybe if we all had a set of like info, like pocket-sized info that we could pull out for any type of situation that we run into in public,
Mhm.
that
I actually did stuff like that in the beginning. When I first came across 9/11, that was when I woke up. And it was purely, I can't say it was by accident, but it was, how can I explain this? Because looking back on it now and knowing what I know about, how synchronicities happen, and the time in your life when you come upon certain information. I know for a fact that if I would have came upon this information back when I was married to my ex-husband, it would not have resonated with me, and I would not have been ready to take it into my system and digest it and run with it the way I was when I first came upon it, when I was remarried and in a completely different mindset and a completely different situation. So I think in that respect, it was good that I never came across it then. It wasn't meant for me then. I
Yeah.
had to go through what I had to go through and come out the other side of that and find myself again and start thinking for myself again instead of, living under this crazy mind control that my ex-husband had me
Right.
under. And that's when I was open to it. And I was just sitting there one night. My whole family was in bed sleeping. It was about 10:30 at night. The computer was new. I'd never had a computer before, so my husband would encourage me to, well, what do you like? What's your interest? And I really like geological features, volcanoes, these types of things. So when I couldn't sleep, I was on the computer and I was literally on YouTube looking at volcanoes and pyroclastic flows and stuff like that. And in the sidebar, 9/11 Mysteries came up, and this was 2005, very end of 2005, going into 2006. And I'm like, 9/11 Mysteries, and you see on the thumbnail, like when the buildings are coming down, you see that big cloud of smoke. Well, that was kin to a pyroclastic flow, and that's the reason why it came up in my search bar, because it was like a tag word in the video, because they use that word pyroclastic flow and they show a volcano and what that looks like and how the towers came down, and it was pretty much the same exact. It took something that powerful to create something that cloud of smoke. So as I'm looking at these geological features and stuff, and I look over and see 9/11 Mysteries, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I clicked on it. There was nothing that led me to it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like somebody
Yeah.
came and dropped the information in my lap. I clicked, and an hour and however long later, my life was changed, literally.
Yeah.
And granted, I didn't have all the pieces to the puzzle at that point, but I had enough to smack me in the reality. And here I find myself at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night now. Now I really can't sleep
Yeah.
because I just came across profound fucking information that I totally got the minute I saw it, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then it was like I just wanted to wake everybody up and tell everybody about it. My husband, well, actually, around 12:30, I guess it was, I tried to go to sleep. So I go crawl in bed, try to be quiet and everything. I'm laying there, and I can't sleep because all I'm thinking about is what I just watched. As a matter of fact, I wanted to get up and rewatch it again because it was like, wow.
Yeah.
So around 2 in the morning, my husband gets up to go to the bathroom, and I spring out of bed because I'm still awake.
Yeah.
I follow him to the bathroom. Now, granted, he is half asleep. He's maybe got one eye open. And I just start going, blah, 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 and they killed all these things. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you gotta watch this. You gotta do it. He's like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but I promise we'll watch it tomorrow. So, he goes back to bed, and I try to go to sleep. I finally got some sleep, get up, kids go off to school, he goes to work. And I was a stay-at-home mom at the time because he was making really good money, and I didn't have to work.
Right.
So I watched this fucking video like 3 more times during the course of the day.
Right.
And the plan was everybody's going to come home. He'll come home from work. The kids will come home from school. And we're going to eat dinner. And then we're going to all sit around the fucking computer and watch this shit. And
Right.
that's exactly what happened. And they were like, holy crap. Even my son, who was in like 6th grade at the time, he got it, and this started our journey of truth, and we were all on board with it, and so what I started doing was I started telling my husband, I was like, we got to talk about this. We got to tell people. It's like I just discovered electricity or something. I just couldn't believe that nobody was talking about this.
Yeah.
And it was so profound to me. It was like, I need to talk to, does anybody else know about this? I didn't know what was going on. So we made up flyers, and we lived 20 minutes from the beach, Fort Myers Beach, and we used to love to go down there for sunsets. And so we printed out, I had a printer. We printed out all these websites, all this stuff, and to look up, and, we did all this, had a nice paragraph written and everything, and we just went around and started putting them on people's windshields and parking lots and stuff down at the beach.
Right.
And we would do that if we went to like a Walmart or Target or anything like that. We would, go stick them on. So we started that way, and then we wound up buying the DVD for 9/11 Mysteries, and we started to burn copies of it, and we just kept buying stacks and stacks of rewritable DVDs, and burning them and giving them to people. Just walking up and saying, we wrote on the DVD 9/11 Mysteries, or something like It's Time to Wake Up, or
Right.
And I would never see these people again. I would just literally hand them out to random people, and people that I knew maybe in the area. Some of our friends that would stop by. And that's how I started. I gave out literally over 3,000 DVDs to people while I was down there in Florida between that time.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
And so I felt that was the easiest way for me to go about it, because I was not educated enough to have an intelligent conversation with somebody about it. And at that time, when I did try to talk to people, all they wanted to do was debate me. And I was not ready for that. I was not ready to spit out all this information, because I had not even digested it all. I was still trying to research it all.
Right.
And then finally, all these years later, that now that I've digested it and I understand it now, I'm able to better, spit it out at people in a condensed version that they can understand.
Yeah.
And I rarely get debated anymore about anything. It's more like, I'll either get the blank stare,
Yeah.
or I'll get a few questions here and there, or I'll get that one person that will literally say, wow, I'll have to look into that. I never thought of it that way. Or, I was like, okay, my job's done here. I'm moving on.
Well, it's interesting because, like, I'm very conflict adverse, right? And I have been my whole life, just the whole idea. I don't want to get into anything with anyone, it's really up to them what they want to do and what they want to think and stuff like that. So I've never really been in anyone's face. So it's a little bit foreign to me, the idea of like putting something controversial on someone's car. And as a male, I worry about someone coming after me, maybe more.
I used to have 9/11 was an inside job on the back of my truck window.
Yeah.
And I went into the store one day and come back out, and somebody had spit on my window.
Yeah.
Another store, I went in, I come out, somebody had thrown a soda all over my back window.
Yep.
I've had people give me the finger as they're riding past me. I had a cop stop me and say, "What's that mean on your back window? What's
Right.
that supposed to mean?" I said, "Well, you're a cop. You should know what an inside job is." I mean, do I really have to spell it out for you? And then I just kept going.
That's yeah, I just worry about like maybe some guy saying, something like stop talking to my wife, and before you know it he's like throwing haymakers at me or something. It just seemed, or if I'm touching some guy's car, their first response, especially in the area that I live, it's it's around Stavely, where Stavely lives, people wouldn't hesitate to just like fucking pop you,
Right,
and be like,
you got to pick your battles. You got to go with what you're comfortable with, and think about your approach and everything. Like I've talked to people where they just literally turn away from me and just stop listening to what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
just, when you lose people. When the husband or the wife comes over and they look at you like, well, what are you two talking about? And,
Yeah.
And they start listening a little, and then they're really like, okay, let's go, honey, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what I'm all about
I-
is
oh.
if we as a community are people that are enjoying our lives, we're doing creative things, we're eating healthy, we're working out, we're showing people what a great life looks like, even in this twisted world that we're in. I think people, it's contagious. People will be like, oh, whatever she's drinking, I want. And I do believe that if we just keep doing what we know is naturally good and healthy and God-filled and everything like that, if we just keep doing that and we keep getting together and we keep being obvious, and overt about who we are as people and what we stand for, or like what we don't believe, and the lies that we've seen through and stuff like that, it will resonate with with people that they see beauty. Like, in this chat, there are people that are talking about you, as a 50-year-old hottie and wanting to smoke a bowl with you, and I think that's the sentiment that comes off when people meet you is it's just like, wow, here's this beautiful spirit that I'd just love to smoke a bowl with, what's she talking about? And,
It wasn't always that way. I mean, I did go through my times where I was the crazy one. People at work were like, "Oh yeah, here she goes again with that stuff," or "Oh, do you really believe all that?" Or I would get, "Well, I don't worry about that," and I'm like, "Well, I'm not worried. I'm awake, and I'm hoping you're going to be awake too, but I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about the fact that you won't see it, and then that's going to affect me, because together we stand, divided we all fall, and that's how they want to keep us. They want to keep us divided on all these topics so we don't come together and figure it out. They're fucked."
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that talk about like how do they're getting impatient about truth and how do we band together and like really bring down the system and stuff like that. And honestly, I think the system completely crumbles on its own, and that it's almost like the less we focus on bringing it down, the more it'll probably come down, because it's something that if we were to collectively decide to not participate in the matrix that exists for us, it would die in a day, right?
Absolutely. It takes us to have this thing even happening. The matrix overlay only works if it has people that invest in it and feed into it. And if we all take our attention away from it, it will literally disappear. It can't exist. It can't stand without us supporting it.
Yeah, exactly. And so if the message seeps into people's minds and the seeds are planted and people start checking out of the system, not participating in the all the traps that come with American life, it's gonna fall on its own effort. You know what I'm saying? It's a collapse that happens, and I'm not necessarily into the battle of like let's battle the system. I'm into let's do our own thing and watch the system collapse on its own.
Absolutely. You can't feed the beast, because the beast requires us to feed it and feed into it and keep us on this rat race cycle that they have us on, and that keeps your focus and your mindset in one direction, which is the direction opposite of truth.
Right.
And believing in their truths, which are nothing but lies. They're authority figures, that tell us that, okay, gravity, the theory of gravity, but yet it's a fact. We're going to treat this theory as a fact, and, they're the authority. They're the astrophysicists and all this stuff. They must know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When you really step back and look at what we're in here, and it's like, wow, it is literally the world that has been pulled over our eyes to blind us from the truth. And part of that truth is that we've been lied to since day one. And when I heard the term, you've never had an original thought in your life, I did not fully understand what that meant until I got way further down into my journey and I came upon Flat Earth and the Mandela effect. And I started really understanding the scope of that phrase. And I'm like, wow, literally Flat Earth was in my face for 50 years. Granted, I've been awake to Flat Earth for the last 3 years now, but it's always been there.
Yeah.
It's always been there. But I was too blinded by the authority that told me space exists. And, we're on this type of thing. This is what we live on and all this stuff like that. And this is how it works.
Yeah.
And, who am I? I don't know. I just got here. They must know what they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, I'm going to have to head out here, Jen. I love talking to you, and I love you as a person. You just like, honestly, all the craziness that you talk about and all the Matrix stuff that we're involved in and not wanting to be a part of that, it all translates into, I think, a life that has meaning, because like I honestly feel like ever since I unplugged from the Matrix, that's when I kind of like let the universe take control of the situation, and that's when freedom hit me, and that's when all of the meaning of my life started seeping into it. Like all the stuff for 35 years I had been kind of pushing on the back burner because I was focused on work and everything like that. It just all of a sudden this flood of purpose entered into my life, and I was like, wow, like what you were saying, are we apostles of some sort if we're such a small percentage that has such a vastly different view of reality than most of the people around us, than 99.9999% of the people around us? Like that is that right there gives me some purpose. That is like, wow, we've got a lot of joy to spread if we're gonna like watch this world transform in any kind of way. And so I believe that that's what my mission is here, which is like to somehow take the positiveness that I've been blessed with since I was, I don't know that it's just I was born positive,
Absolutely.
and how can I kind of turn that into something useful for the community that we're in? And I do realize that we all have things that we're wrestling with, and we all have challenges to try to make a living, and we've got all of these things that we have to do inside of the Matrix, and we've got all this knowledge about participating, and knowledge about how to escape and get out in ways, like how to see through the traps that we've been put into. And it is just really fun to actually see a message that you've been given from birth resonate with other people when you're 50 years old, 51 like me. And you and I were born pretty close together. And I think that, like I said the other day, I'm really happy. I'm so happy that you're in my life, and everyone in this chat. It's just like I'm so glad that all of the pieces came together that would put me with these headphones on and this microphone in front of me talking with you guys, and so I, any way I can be helpful in the skills that you're trying to, if there's any technical stuff or any kind of emotions that you're feeling, if you're feeling, like, don't hesitate to reach out to me, because like, I'll be positive, right?
Absolutely. And I love that about you. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on your show here for a little bit.
Thank you.
I definitely want to do a show again with you soon. Maybe we'll do something on the ripple effect.
Yeah, and Steffi is in here, and I would love to have Steffi call in, or I think I can do the whole thing where you guys, I can send out a link and you can jump into the stream. I haven't figured out how to do that yet because I got the OBS and I'm not using the StreamYard, so I have to kind of figure out exactly, oh, I know how to do it. I do the video conferencing. Like I just use the Zoom that people use to do video conferencing, and then I can have as many people as we want. And I'd love to someday have like a group of faces on this screen, so it's not just me in front of the microphone here, but we can actually see a bunch of faces. And so I'd love to do that at some point if you're down for appearing on the not just your voice, but appearing on the screen.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. I would love to do that. And also, I've been telling people, they want to believe in the beautiful lie. They don't want to see the ugly truth. But I'm going to stop saying that, and I'm going to start saying that people want to believe in the ugly lie and not see the beautiful truth.
That's right.
Because the truth is beautiful.
Right.
The truth is that we've been lied to on such a massive scale, and that's the ugly side of it, that we bought into it, and we can see it now for what it is. But once you get past that, you start to see the truth in everything.
Yeah.
And how beautiful this place really is, and how beautiful we are as individual beings, and that we're all connected on a level that we fully can't comprehend yet, which is actually the oneness, the one consciousness that flows through everything.
Yeah.
And they've disconnected us from that. If anybody has a chance to watch The Lost Teachings of Jesus, the Book of Thomas, that Greg Braden does, I just watched it last night with my mother. It will give you a whole new perspective on manifesting your reality, because they have us manifesting the reality that they want us to be in. And
Yeah.
we need to manifest the reality that we want, that we know is actually our reality that's been kept from us,
Yeah.
our true nature, our true purposes, and the connection that we all have. See, if I hit you and you feel it, then we're not going to have war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they have us divided, thinking that each one of us is an individual, and there's no connection between us, which there actually is. And we need to reconnect all these disconnects that they have us disconnected from. And I love you guys. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for all your kind words. And hopefully soon here I'm going to go live again. And maybe you can even join me, Christian. I'll send you a link.
That sounds awesome. I actually have to go as well. I have to meet up with my kids, and I would love to talk to Joey. I would love to talk to Steffi, and I just unfortunately ran out of time. I love you guys both, and I love you, Jen. I love everyone in the chat. Valiant One.
All right. Well, thank you, Christian. I'm going to let you go, and you have a beautiful day.
See you, Jen.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Malanga, thank you so much for hanging out in the chat. Mr. LA. Wes. Joey, Steffi. Pat Riot. You guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I'll see you sometime soon. Much love.